Jack Lawson sat on the back porch of his father's house, watching the stars appear one by one in the Nevada sky. The summer air was warm, and crickets chirped in the tall grass beyond the yard. 6 months had passed since his father died, but Jack still thought of it as his dad's house, not his own. He took a sip from his beer and looked at the old photo album in his lap. Pictures of his father, Richard Lawson, smiled back at him. Richard had been a brilliant physicist who worked for the government on projects he could never discuss. Jack grew up listening to his father's stories about friends from beyond the stars and adventures in distant galaxies. As a child, Jack believed every word. As an adult, he saw them as the creative tales of a lonely widower raising a son by himself. "I miss your stories, Dad," Jack said to the empty chair beside him. At 26, Jack had become an engineer, following somewhat in his father's scientific footsteps. He had moved back into the rural family home after Richard's sudden heart attack, unable to bear the thought of selling it. The night was quiet, except for the usual sounds of nature, until a strange blue light flashed in the sky. Jack looked up, thinking it might be lightning, but the stars were still visible. Then the light appeared again, closer this time, somewhere beyond the trees, at the edge of the property. Jack put down his beer. A soft humming sound filled the air, like electricity running through wires, but somehow more musical. The hairs on his arms stood up. "Hello?" He called out, feeling foolish immediately. Whatever it wasn't going to answer him. But something did move at the edge of the yard. Jack squinted into the darkness. The blue light glowed softly, illuminating a figure walking toward the house. Jack stood up, his heart racing. He reached for his phone, ready to call for help. The figure stepped into the moonlight. It was a young woman. She looked mostly human, but something was slightly off. Her skin had a subtle shimmer to it, like it contained tiny flecks of light. Her eyes, even in the darkness, were an unusual color somewhere between violet and blue. She wore simple clothes, jeans and a light jacket that looked too big for her. "Jack Lawson?" she asked. Her voice had a musical quality, like the humming sound from before. Jack took a step back. "Who are you? How do you know my name?" The woman stopped a respectful distance away. "My name is Lyra. Your father knew my father very well." She smiled, and it was both familiar and alien at the same time. "I was sent here to find you." Jack's mind raced. This had to be some kind of joke or scam. My father didn't have many friends, and he's been dead for 6 months. "I know," Lyra sighed, her face showing genuine sadness. "Zarin, my father, only recently learned of Richard's passing. There is much distance between our worlds." "Our worlds?" Jack repeated. A chill ran down his spine despite the warm night. "What are you talking about?" Lyra reached into her pocket and pulled out a small device, unlike anything Jack had seen before. It fit in her palm, but seemed to be made of a material that both absorbed and reflected light. She held it out to him. "This will explain better than I can," she said. Jack hesitated, then curiosity won out. He took the device. It was warm to the touch and seemed to pulse slightly, like it had a heartbeat. As soon as it was in his hand, it lit up, projecting a holographic image about 2 feet tall. Jack nearly dropped it in shock. Standing in his backyard, made of blue light, was a man or something like a man. He had the same unusual features as Lyra, but more pronounced. His face was kinder than Jack expected, with wrinkles around the eyes that suggested he smiled often. "Greetings, son of Richard," the hologram said. "If you are seeing this message, then my daughter Lyra has found you safely. My name is Zarin. Your father was my friend for many Earth years, though we met rarely in person. I am what you would call an alien, though I prefer the term Ardanian, after my home world." Jack looked from the hologram to Lyra, who was watching him carefully. The hologram continued. Richard and I worked together to prepare for a day we both hoped would never come. That day is approaching, and I must ask for your help. Earth faces a threat from beyond your stars. Lyra carries information that can help your people, but she needs sanctuary. Trust her as your father trusted me. The hologram flickered and went. Silent, Jack stared at the space where it had been, then at the device in his hand, then at Lyra. This is insane, he finally said. My dad was a physicist, not some ... alien ambassador. He was both, Lyra said simply, and more. He saved my father's life once, when Zarin's ship crashed near here. Instead of reporting him to your authorities, Richard helped him repair his vessel and return home. They became friends and scientific partners. Jack sat down heavily on the porch steps. Those stories he told me when I was a kid ... they were real? Lyra nodded. Some were simplified, but yes. My father told me similar tales of his visits to Earth and his friend Richard. And this threat? Jack asked. What is it? The hologram contains more information, but it will only reveal itself in stages, Lyra explained. For now, I need a place to stay while we decode the rest of the message. I cannot return home yet. Jack looked at this strange woman who claimed to be from another world. Everything logical in him said to call the police, or a mental hospital, or just tell her to leave. But something in her eyes reminded him of the wonder he felt as a child listening to his father's stories. You can stay tonight, Jack finally said. Just tonight. Then we'll figure out what to do. Lyra smiled, relief washing over her face. Thank you, Jack Lawson. Your father said you would have his kind heart. As Jack led her into the house, he glanced back at the stars. For the first time since he was a child, he wondered which one she came from. And for the first time since his father died, he felt like Richard was somehow still with him, guiding him toward an adventure beyond anything he could have imagined. Morning sunlight streamed through the kitchen window as Jack made coffee. He had barely slept, his mind racing with questions. Lyra sat at the table, examining a toaster with intense curiosity. You plug it in, put bread in these slots, and push. This lever down, Jack explained, demonstrating with 2 slices of bread. Lyra nodded. We have similar devices, but ours use sound waves instead of heat. She watched the toaster with fascination. I studied Earth culture extensively before coming here, but experiencing it is different. Jack poured coffee into 2 mugs. So, how long have you been watching us? My people have observed Earth for centuries, Lyra said. We maintain a strict policy of non-interference, except in special cases. She sipped the coffee and made a face. This is bitter. Try it with sugar and milk, Jack suggested, sliding them across the table. So my dad was a special case? Very special. The friendship between our fathers was unusual, but valuable to both our worlds. Lyra looked around the kitchen. I can see his influence here. The symbols carved into the wooden beams. Those are Ardanian protection marks. Jack looked up at the decorative carvings he'd always assumed were just his father's artistic hobby. I had no idea. The toaster popped, making Lyra jump slightly. Jack couldn't help but smile. Not everything will try to attack you here, he said. I know, Lyra replied, embarrassed. My father said humans use humor to ease tension. Is that what you're doing? Jack nodded, buttering the toast. We need to figure out your cover story. People will ask questions. Cousin, Lyra suggested. Distant family visiting from. Where would be believable? California, Jack decided. Far enough that no one would know you. Close enough that your presence makes sense. Over the next few days, Jack helped Lyra adapt to life on Earth. They went shopping for more clothes, since she had arrived with almost nothing. Her slightly unusual appearance drew some looks, but most people just assumed she was unusually pretty. "Your skin," Jack said quietly as they walked through the store. "It's less shimmery today." "I can control it somewhat," Lyra explained. "My people can adjust our appearance for different environments. Not completely, but enough to blend in. Better." At the checkout, the cashier smiled at them. "You two make a cute couple." Jack started to correct her, but Lyra spoke first. "Thank you. He's very patient with me." She smiled at Jack, who felt his face grow warm. Walking back to the car, Jack asked, "Why didn't you tell her we aren't a couple?" "Sometimes it's easier to let humans believe what makes them comfortable," Lyra said. "I've observed that couples attract less suspicion than other relationships." Jack couldn't argue with her logic, but something about it bothered him. That afternoon, Jack's friend Alan stopped by unexpectedly. Jack had just enough time to warn Lyra before Alan burst through the door with his usual energy. "Jack, why haven't you been answering your phone? We've got that project deadline next week, and—" Alan stopped when he saw Lyra sitting on the couch. "Oh, hello. Alan, this is my cousin Lyra from California. She's staying with me for a while," Jack said, hoping Alan wouldn't ask too many questions. Alan shook her hand. "Nice to meet you." Jack never mentioned a cousin was visiting. "It was a sudden decision," Lyra said smoothly. "I needed a change of scenery." Alan seemed satisfied with this explanation and turned back to Jack, discussing work matters. As they talked, Jack noticed Lyra watching them intently, her head tilted slightly. After Alan left, Jack asked, "What were you doing while we talked? You looked like you were listening to more than just our words." Lyra hesitated. "My people have some empathic abilities. I can sense emotional states if I focus. I was curious about your friendship. You can read minds?" Jack stepped back. "No, not thoughts. Just feelings and only surface emotions." Lyra looked apologetic. "I should have mentioned it sooner." "Yes, you should have," Jack said, feeling uncomfortable. "What else haven't you told me?" Before Lyra could answer, there was another knock at the door. Through the window, Jack saw Karen's police car. "It's Karen, the local sheriff," he whispered. "We grew up together. Remember your story?" Karen Phillips had known Jack since they were children. She had sharp eyes that didn't miss much, and she immediately focused on Lyra. "So you're the cousin." "Jack's been hiding," Karen said, studying Lyra. "Where in California are you from?" "San Diego," Lyra replied. "And what brings you to our little town?" "Not much excitement here compared to California." "Family connection," Lyra said. "And I needed space to work on my research." Karen raised an eyebrow. "Research?" "Astronomy," Lyra said quickly. "The night sky is clearer here." Karen seemed to accept this, but continued asking questions about Lyra's background. Jack could tell she was suspicious, but didn't know why. After Karen left, Jack turned to Lyra. "She knows something's off about you. She's protective of you," Lyra said. "She has feelings for you." Jack shook his head. "We dated in high school. That's ancient history." That evening, as they sat on the porch watching the stars, Lyra's device began to glow. She activated it, and Zarin's hologram appeared again. "The time has come to tell you more," Zarin said. "The threat approaching Earth is a species we call the Voth. They are conquerors who destroyed part of our civilization. Now they have set their sights on your world." Jack listened in growing horror as Zarin explained how the Voth viewed humans as resources to be harvested. "What can we do?" Jack asked when the message ended. "My father and yours were working on a defense system," Lyra said. "But I don't know the details yet. The message will reveal more when the time is right." Jack looked up at the stars, no longer seeing them as beautiful, but as potential hiding places for this new threat. "We need help," he said finally. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we should tell someone in authority. Not yet, Lyra warned. Your government might see me as a threat rather than an ally. We need more information first. As they talked into the night, neither noticed the small drone hovering in the distance, watching and recording their every move. Strange lights appeared in the night sky above the small town of Pine Creek. Jack Lawson stood in his backyard with Lyra, both looking up at the unusual patterns among the stars. It had been 3 weeks since Lyra arrived on Earth, and things were getting complicated. Those are not natural, Lyra said, her voice soft but worried. Her slightly iridescent skin caught the moonlight as she pointed to a cluster of stars that seemed to flicker in an odd rhythm. The Voth are closer than we thought. Jack ran his hand through his hair, a habit when he was stressed. How much time do we have? Days, maybe a week, Lyra answered. She held up the small device her father had given her. It glowed with new information. We need to decode more of my father's message. Inside Jack's house, they activated the holographic message. Zarin's image appeared, his features similar to Lyra's, but more angular. If you are seeing this part of the message, the Voth scout ships have entered your solar system. They view humans as resources to be harvested. Their technology allows them to extract neural energy from sentient beings. They will not negotiate or show mercy. Jack sat down heavily. So they're coming to farm us? Yes, Lyra said. They destroyed 3 of our colonies before we could stop them. My people fought back, but we were unprepared. She touched Jack's hand. Your father and mine believed humanity had potential the Voth do not understand. That's why they worked together. The next morning, Jack went to work at the engineering firm, trying to act normal. His friend Alan caught up with him in the parking lot. Dude, did you see the news? Scientists are freaking out about some kind of signal disruption across the globe. Electronics going haywire, satellite problems. Alan showed Jack his phone. And check this out, weird aurorae lights where there shouldn't be any. Jack read the article, recognizing the signs Lyra had described. The Voth ships were affecting Earth's electromagnetic field as they approached. That's not all, Alan continued. There are government vehicles at the old research center outside town. Men in suits asking questions. Jack tried to keep his face neutral. Probably nothing. Maybe related to your dad's old work? Alan suggested. He was into some weird science. Maybe. Jack changed the subject quickly. When Jack got home, he found Karen's police car in his driveway. She was waiting on the porch, her sheriff's badge catching the afternoon sun. Jack, we need to talk, Karen said, her eyes serious. People are asking questions about your cousin. What kind of questions? Jack tried to sound casual, like why there's no record of her anywhere. No driver's license, no social security number. Nothing. Karen lowered her voice. And some men from a government agency were asking if anyone new had come to town recently. They seemed very interested in your property. Jack's heart raced. She's just a distant relative staying with me for a while. Karen looked at him hard. Jack, I've known you since we were kids. You're a terrible liar, she sighed. Whatever's going on, be careful. These government types seem serious. After Karen left, Jack called Lyra, who was shopping for groceries. Come home now. We might have a problem. That evening, Helen stopped by unexpectedly. Jack had been showing Lyra how to cook pasta in the kitchen when the doorbell rang. Hey, I brought beer, and Alan stopped mid-sentence as he walked into the kitchen. Lyra was using a small device to analyze the chemical composition of the tomato sauce, the object floating above her palm with a blue light scanning it. The beer bottles dropped from Alan's hands. What the hell? Alan, I can explain, Jack started. She's not human, is she? Alan backed away. Is this why those government guys are snooping around? Lyra put down the device. Please don't be afraid. I mean no harm to you, or anyone on Earth. It took 2 hours and all of Jack's persuasive skills to calm Alan down. By the end, Alan sat on the couch, processing everything they had told him. So, your dad was friends with an alien, and now another alien species is coming to harm us? Alan shook his head. This is insane. We need your help, Jack said. My dad must have left something behind, some part of the defense system he was working on with Zarin. That night, the three of them searched the house thoroughly. In Richard's study, Lyra's device began to glow near the old bookshelf. There's something here, she said, moving her hands along the wood. A hidden panel clicked open, revealing a small scanner. Jack placed his hand on it. A mechanical sound came from below, and part of the floor slid away, exposing a staircase. He never told me about this, Jack whispered. They descended into a fully equipped laboratory, hidden beneath the house. Computer screens lit up automatically, displaying complex equations and diagrams. Models of solar systems hung from the ceiling, and strange devices lined the walls. Your father and mine built this together, Lyra said in awe. This is Ardanian. Technology combined with earth science. Alan whistled. Your dad was holding out on the world, man. As they explored, Jack found a journal in his father's handwriting. Listen to this. Zarin and I believe the Voth can be defeated. Their neural harvesting technology has a critical weakness. The right frequency of sound disrupts their ship's energy systems and their harvesting equipment. That's it, Lyra exclaimed. My father mentioned sonic defense systems. Your father was a specialist in sound wave technology, wasn't he? Jack nodded. He developed sonar systems for the military before he became a physicist. The lab computers contained detailed plans for a device that could generate powerful, targeted sound frequencies. It was incomplete, but the framework was there. The next day, news reports showed strange objects appearing on military radar near the moon. The government declared it a technical malfunction, but Jack, Lyra, and Alan knew better not as they worked. Frantically in the secret lab, a black SUV pulled up to Jack's house. Director Gavin Howard stepped out with 2 agents and a woman in a lab coat. Mr. Lawson, Howard called, knocking firmly on the door. I'm from the Department of Special Sciences. We need to talk about your father's research. And about your house. Guest. Jack looked at Lyra and Alan in the hidden lab, then at the security monitor showing the visitors. What do we do now? Alan asked. Lyra stood up straight, her alien features more pronounced in the blue light of the lab. We tell them the truth. We need all eyes, Jack. Your government has resources we need to complete the defense system. Jack took a deep breath. And if they want to take you away for study instead of helping us? Then humanity will face the Voth alone, Lyra said grimly. But I don't think they will. Self-preservation is a strong instinct in all species. Jack nodded and headed up the stairs to face Director Howard, knowing that the fate of Earth might depend on what happened in the next few minutes. A threat had emerged. Now it was time to face it together. Director Howard stood in the middle of Richard Lawson's secret laboratory, his face a mixture of awe and concern. Jack, Lyra, and Alan watched nervously as the government official examined the equipment. Your father kept quite a secret, Mr. Lawson, Howard said finally. We suspected he was working on something important, but this ... He gestured to the advanced technology around them. This goes beyond what we imagined. The woman in the lab coat stepped forward. I'm Dr. Eliza Brown. I worked with your father years ago, before he went private. She looked at Lyra with undisguised fascination. And you really are from another world? Lyra nodded. My people are called Ardanians. We've been watching Earth for centuries. One of the agents whispered something. To Howard, who frowned. "We've just received word that our deep space monitoring stations have detected multiple objects entering the solar system. They're moving at speeds our technology can't match." "The Voth," Lyra said grimly. "They're earlier than we expected." Howard turned to Jack. "We need to know everything. Now." For the next hour, Jack and Lyra explained everything they knew about the Voth and the defense system Richard and Zaren had been developing. Alan helped interpret some of the technical aspects, showing surprising knowledge of sound wave technology. "So, your father's research on sonic vibrations wasn't just for military sonar," Dr. Brown said thoughtfully. "He was developing a weapon against these aliens." "Not just a weapon," Lyra corrected. "A shield. The right frequencies can disrupt the Voth's neural harvesting technology and their ship systems without harming humans or Ardanians." Howard studied the diagrams on the computer screens. "Can we build this in time?" "If we work together," Jack said. "But we need resources and people who understand this technology." Howard nodded. "Dr. Brown, call in the science team. Mr. Lawson, you and your friends are now working for the government." He paused, looking at Lyra. "Some of my superiors wanted to take you into custody for study. I convinced them you're more valuable as an ally." "Thank you," Lyra said. "My father would be pleased to know there are wise leaders on Earth." Over the next 2 days, the laboratory became a hive of activity. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock to understand and build the sonic defense system. Jack was surprised to learn that a small international group had known about the possibility of alien contact for decades. His father had been part of this secret network. During a rare quiet moment, Jack found an old video file on his father's computer. It showed Richard and a being who looked like an older version of Lyra, working side by side in the lab. "That's my father," Lyra said softly, appearing behind Jack. "This must have been recorded years ago." They watched as the video showed Richard injuring himself on some equipment. Blood flowed from a deep cut on his arm. Zaren quickly placed his hands over the wound, and a soft blue light glowed between his fingers. When he removed his hands, the wound was healed. "He saved your father's life," Lyra explained, "just as your father once saved his." It created a bond between them that transcended their different origins. Another video showed the two friends talking over drinks, like any two humans might. "I worry about my daughter," Zaren was saying. "She's so curious about other worlds, especially yours." Richard laughed. "My son's the same way. Always looking up at the stars, asking questions. Maybe someday they'll meet." "Perhaps," Zaren replied, "when both our worlds are ready." Jack felt a lump in his throat. "He knew about you. He wanted us to meet," Lyra nodded. "Our fathers hoped for peace between our peoples. Now we must fight together to ensure both our worlds survive." A scientist rushed into the room. "The objects have passed Mars. They'll reach Earth orbit in less than 24 hours. In the main part of the lab, Howard was coordinating with military leaders around the world. Screens showed global defense forces on high alert. Panic was spreading as the Voth ships became visible to Earth's telescopes. "We need more time," Dr. Brown said, frustration clear in her voice. "The sonic transmitters aren't ready for global deployment." Lyra stepped forward. "There might be another way." She held up her device. "We can send a signal to my people. They might be too far to arrive quickly, but they could send data to help complete the defense system." Howard nodded. "Do it." Lyra activated the device, which projected a complex pattern of light and sound. The air seemed to vibrate with energy. "Message sent," she said. "Now we wait." They didn't have to wait long. An hour later, Lyra's device lit up with an incoming transmission. Data streamed into the lab's computers, filling in gaps in the sonic defense plans. "This will work," Dr. Brown said excitedly. We can route the sonic frequencies through existing satellite networks and radio towers. It won't be perfect, but it should disrupt their ships. As they worked to implement the new plan, Jack found another file on his father's computer. It was labeled, "For Jack, open when the time comes." He clicked on it, and his father's face appeared on the screen, looking older than Jack remembered. Him. "Hello, son," Richard said with a warm smile. "If you're watching this, then you've met Lyra and learned about our work. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you the truth while I was alive. It was too dangerous." Jack watched, transfixed, as his father explained how he had met Zaren when his ship crashed near their home. Instead of reporting the crash, Richard had helped the alien visitor repair his ship. He could have taken our technology by force, but he didn't. He showed me respect and kindness. We became friends, and later, partners in preparing Earth for what we knew would someday come. Richard's eyes grew serious. "The Voth are dangerous, Jack, but they have a weakness. Their neural technology is sensitive to specific sound frequencies. Zaren and I have been working on a defense system, but if you're seeing this, it means we didn't finish it in time." His father leaned closer to the camera. "I believe in you, son. You have the knowledge to complete our work. And with Lyra's help, I believe humanity has a chance." The message ended with Richard smiling. "I'm proud of you, Jack, more than you'll ever know." Jack wiped tears from his eyes as the video ended. He felt Lyra's hand on his shoulder. "We should join the others," she said gently. "The Voth will reach Earth soon." Jack nodded, a new determination filling him. His father had trusted him with the fate of the world. He wouldn't let him down. The sky above Pine Creek turned an eerie shade of purple as the Voth ships entered Earth's atmosphere. People across the world looked up in fear at the massive vessels that blocked out the sun in patches, creating artificial eclipses. News channels showed panicked crowds in major cities, while military jets scrambled uselessly against the alien technology dot in Richard Lawson's underground laboratory. Jack, Lyra, and their team of scientists worked frantically to complete the sonic defense system. Director Howard coordinated with military commands worldwide, preparing to activate every radio tower, satellite dish, and broadcast system on Earth. The main Voth ship is positioning itself over the Atlantic Ocean, an agent reported, pointing to a large red dot on the global map. The smaller vessels are spreading out to cover major population centers. Dr. Brown looked up from her computer. "The system is at 89% completion. We need more time." "We don't have more time," Howard said grimly. "Reports are coming in of strange beams hitting cities in Asia. People are collapsing where they stand." Lyra's face paled. "They're beginning the harvesting process. They're extracting neural energy." Jack looked at the main console, where the sonic defense system's progress bar seemed to be moving too slowly. "Can we activate what we have now, even at partial strength?" "It might not be enough," Dr. Brown warned. "We could lose our only chance." Alan, who had been working on the transmission algorithms, spoke up. "What if we focus all power on the main ship instead of trying to hit them all at once?" "Take out their leader first?" Howard nodded. "It's worth trying. Redirect all resources to target the primary vessel." As they reconfigured the system, Lyra studied the readings from her device. The harvesting is accelerating. Millions of people are being affected. She looked at Jack with worry in her alien eyes. "Even focused, I'm not sure our signal will be strong enough." Jack remembered something from his father's message. Dad said the Voth are sensitive to specific frequencies. What if we could amplify those exact frequencies somehow? Lyra's expression changed as an idea formed. "I might be able to help with that." She hesitated. "My people have an ability we rarely share with others. We can channel energy through our bodies to amplify certain types of waves. It's how we communicate across vast distances. You'd be channeling the entire sonic blast? Jack asked, concerned. Wouldn't that hurt you? Yes, Lyra admitted. But it's our best chance. Howard looked between them. Miss Lyra, we can't ask you to. You're not asking, she interrupted. I'm offering. This is my fight too. Jack wanted to argue, but knew she was right. Instead, he squeezed her hand. Tell us what you need. Lyra explained how to modify the transmission system to channel through her. The scientists quickly made the adjustments, while reports of the harvesting spread to more continents. Europe is now affected, an agent reported, and the first ships are appearing over North America. Jack could see a distant Voth vessel through the small window of the lab. It looked like a dark cloud with pulsing lights beneath it. Fear gripped his heart, but he pushed it aside. His father had prepared for this moment. He wouldn't fail now. System reconfigured, Dr. Brown announced. Ready when you are. Lyra took her position at the center of a modified transmission array. She looked at Jack one last time. Whatever happens, I'm glad I met you, Jack Lawson. Before Jack could respond, she placed her hands on the twin conductors. The system powered up with a high-pitched whine. Activating in 3, 2, 1. Howard pressed the launch button. Energy surged through the system and into Lyra. Her body glowed with the same blue light Jack had seen the night she arrived. She closed her eyes in concentration, her face showing intense pain as she channeled the sonic frequencies. On the monitors, they watched as an invisible wave of sound shot upward, hitting the main Voth ship. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then the massive vessel shuddered. Lights along its surface flickered and went dark. It's working, Alan shouted. Lyra's body shone brighter, the blue light now so intense that Jack had to shield his eyes. The sonic wave expanded, catching more Voth ships in its invisible net. The vessels began to retreat. Rising back toward space, the harvesting beams shut off. On the monitors, people who had collapsed were starting to get up, confused but alive. Suddenly, Lyra cried out and fell to her knees, still connected to the system. Jack rushed to her side. Shut it down, he yelled. She can't take any more. Howard quickly cut the power. Lyra collapsed into Jack's arms, her skin pale and her breathing shallow. Did it work? She whispered. Yes, Jack said, holding her gently. They're retreating. You did it. Over the next few hours, the world watched in amazement as the Voth fleet left Earth's orbit. News reports tried to make sense of what had happened, with theories ranging from divine intervention to secret military technology in the lab. Lyra slowly recovered her strength. They'll be back someday, she warned, but not soon. They'll fear Earth now. A week later, as Jack and Lyra sat on his back porch watching the stars, her device lit up with an incoming message. A hologram appeared, showing several Ardanians. Daughter of Zarin, one of them said. We have received your signal and are approaching Earth. We will arrive within one of your Earth months. Jack looked at Lyra. Your people are coming here? What does that mean? It means everything changes, she said, for both our worlds. In the days that followed, world leaders were briefed about the Ardanians' pending arrival. With the Voth threat fresh in their minds, they agreed to peaceful contact. Director Howard was appointed as Earth's ambassador, with Jack and Lyra serving as advisors. One evening, as they prepared for the arrival of the Ardanian ship, Lyra's device displayed one final message from Zarin. Unlike the previous messages, this one was addressed to both Jack and Lyra. Children of two worlds, Zarin said, his holographic face kind and wise. Richard and I dreamed of a day when our peoples would meet in peace. That day has come sooner than we expected, born from necessity rather than choice. But perhaps that is fitting. The strongest bonds are often formed in times of great challenge. The hologram showed Richard and Zarin standing side by side, looking up at the stars. "We entrust the future to you both," Zarin continued. "Earth is ready to join the larger community of worlds, with humanity bringing its unique strength and resilience. The Arganians offer protection and knowledge in return." The message ended with both fathers smiling. Jack looked at Lyra, seeing her in a new light. "So, what happens next?" Lyra took his hand, her alien eyes reflecting the starlight. "We build something new, together." As they sat watching the night sky, Jack realized how much had changed since that first night when a blue light had appeared. In his backyard, his father's alien friend had sent his daughter to Earth, and it truly had changed everything, not just for Jack, but for all of humanity. And somewhere among the stars, he was sure both their fathers were watching with pride.